You think your job is tough? Try being a priest. Imagine the weight of guiding an entire congregation, being a spiritual leader, and maintaining a connection with the divine. It's not just about giving sermons on Sundays, it's a 24/7 commitment. Talking to God all day, guiding your flock, and rocking that whole robe and collar look, it's a full-time gig. Priests are often seen as the pillars of their communities, offering support, wisdom, and a listening ear to those in need. They are there for the joyous occasions like weddings and baptisms, but also for the somber moments like funerals and confessions. And don't even get me started on the food rules. The dietary guidelines that priests and their congregations follow can be quite intricate, especially during certain religious seasons like Lent. Abstaining from meat on Fridays is just one of the many practices that require discipline and dedication. One thing that always throws people off is the whole no meat on Fridays thing. This tradition, deeply rooted in Catholicism, is more than just a quirky rule. It's a practice that has been observed for centuries. It's a form of penance, a way to remember and honor the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. It's a Catholic tradition that goes way back, a way to honor the sacrifice of Jesus. The idea is to give up something significant like meat, to reflect on the sacrifices made by Christ. This practice dates back to the early days of the Church and has been a staple in Catholic households for generations. Now, I'm no theologian, but I've met enough priests to know they're not exactly starving themselves. In fact, many of them have found creative and delicious ways to adhere to these dietary restrictions. From fish fries to elaborate seafood dishes, they make the most of their meatless Fridays. Fish fries, shrimp scampi, tuna melts, these are just a few examples of the culinary delights that priests and their congregations enjoy on Fridays. These meals are not only tasty but also serve as a communal activity, bringing people together to share in their faith and traditions. These guys know how to make the most of a meatless day. It's not just about following a rule, it's about embracing the spirit of the tradition and finding joy in it. Cooking and sharing meals become acts of fellowship and celebration, reinforcing the bonds within the community. It's a reminder that discipline and sacrifice don't have to be a drag, they can be delicious. By turning a simple act of abstinence into a culinary adventure, priests and their congregations show that faith and joy can go hand in hand. It's about finding the divine in the everyday and making the most of every moment. Okay, so we've covered the no meat on Fridays thing. But that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to dietary restrictions for priests and other religious figures. You see, the rules and guidelines they follow are deeply rooted in centuries-old traditions and beliefs. But if you really want to understand a priest's diet, you gotta dig a little deeper. It's not just about avoiding meat on certain days, it's about a whole lifestyle of mindful eating and spiritual discipline. See, there are some foods that are pretty much off-limits year-round. Blood, for example. Blood-based dishes like blood sausage or blood pudding are a no-go. This stems from ancient beliefs about the sanctity of blood, which is often seen as the life force of a being. Not exactly a staple in most kitchens, but it's worth mentioning. The avoidance of blood in food is a practice that can be found in various religious traditions, not just Christianity. It's a fascinating intersection of faith and food. Then there's pork bacon lovers, beware, and shellfish. These are also commonly restricted. Pork in particular has a long history of being considered unclean in many religious texts. Shellfish, on the other hand, are often seen as bottom feeders, which adds to their taboo status. Why all the restrictions? Well, some of it goes back to ancient dietary laws. These laws were often based on health and hygiene practices of the time. For example, avoiding pork could have been a way to prevent diseases that were more common in ancient times. Others are rooted in tradition and symbolism. Food is not just sustenance, it's a way to connect with the divine. The act of eating can be a form of worship, a way to honor the sacred. It's not always easy to wrap your head around, but hey, that's faith for you. Faith often asks us to go beyond the logical and the tangible, to embrace the mysteries of the spiritual world. Sometimes you just gotta trust the process. These dietary restrictions are more than just rules. They're a way of life, a path to spiritual enlightenment. So next time you see a priest passing on the bacon or the shellfish, you'll know there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Alright, enough with the thou shalt not eats. Let's talk about what priests eat. And surprisingly, or maybe not, it's actually pretty healthy stuff. Think Mediterranean diet, lots of fruits, veggies, whole grains, and olive oil. Fish is a big one, obviously, but they also eat beans, lentils, and nuts for protein. It's a way of eating that's good for the body and the soul. simple, nourishing, and full of flavor. Plus, it's hard to be grumpy when you're fueled by sunshine and olive oil. Now I know what you're thinking, Mike. How many calories does a priest actually eat in a day? And I'm not gonna lie, that's a tough one to answer. Every priest is different, and their calorie needs will vary depending on their age, activity level, and metabolism. But on average, you're probably looking at somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day. Not exactly a starvation diet, but not exactly a free-for-all either. It's all about balance, folks. Section 5. Protein Power. Fueling the spiritual hustle. We've established that priests aren't living on bread and water alone. But what about protein? Gotta keep those sermon muscles strong, right? Fish is a big one, as we've discussed. But priests also get protein from beans, lentils, eggs, and dairy products like yogurt and cheese. It's all about finding healthy, sustainable sources of protein that fit within their dietary guidelines. Think of it as fuel for the spiritual hustle. Section 6. Fat facts, holy oils, and avocado toast. Okay, time to address the elephant in the room: fat. It's a word that strikes fear in the hearts of many, but the truth is, not all fats are created equal. Priests, like all of us, need healthy fats in their diet. Think olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. These good fats help keep their hearts healthy, their brains sharp, and their energy levels up. So, the next time you see a priest at the grocery store stocking up on avocados, don't judge, they're just taking care of their temple. Section 7. Carb loading, pasta power for prayers. Let's be real, nobody wants to listen to a sermon from a hangry priest. That's where carbs come in. Whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, and whole wheat bread provide priests with the energy they need to power through their day, and yes, even a little pasta now and then. It's not about deprivation, folks, it's about moderation and balance. A little bit of what you love never hurt anyone. Section 8. Fasting and feasting, a balancing act of the soul. We can't talk about a priest's diet without mentioning fasting. It's a big part of many Christian traditions, a way to practice self-discipline, reflect, and draw closer to God. Now, fasting doesn't always mean going without food completely. It can involve abstaining from certain foods or limiting food intake for a specific period of time. It's a reminder that our relationship with food should be about more than just satisfying our physical needs. It's about nourishing our souls as well. Section 9. Food for the body, food for the soul. At the end of the day, a priest's diet is about more than just what they eat. It's a reflection of their spiritual practice and their connection to the divine. Every meal is an opportunity to honor their body and soul, to nourish themselves in a way that aligns with their beliefs and values. The food they choose, the way they prepare it, and the manner in which they consume it all play a part in this sacred ritual. It's about intention, mindfulness, and gratitude. Before taking a bite, they pause to give thanks, to acknowledge the journey of the food from the earth to their plate. This moment of reflection transforms a simple meal into a spiritual experience, a practice that can bring a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection to the present moment. It's about recognizing that food is a gift, not a right. In a world where many go hungry, this awareness fosters a sense of humility and appreciation. It reminds us to be grateful for what we have, and to be mindful of those who are less fortunate. This perspective can shift our relationship with food, making us more conscious of our consumption, and more appreciative of the abundance we often take for granted. It's a reminder that we can all benefit from a little more mindful eating in our lives. By slowing down and savoring each bite, we can enhance our enjoyment of food and improve our overall well-being. Mindful eating encourages us to listen to our bodies, to recognize when we are truly hungry and when we are satisfied. It can help us develop a healthier relationship with food, one that is based on respect and appreciation rather than guilt or overindulgence. So the next time you sit down to a meal, take a moment to appreciate the food in front of you. Notice the colors, the textures, the aromas. Think about the journey it took to get to your plate, from the farmers who grew it to the chefs who prepared it. This simple act of mindfulness can transform your dining experience, making it more enjoyable and meaningful. Give thanks for the farmers who grew it, who worked tirelessly to bring fresh, nutritious food to our tables. Their labor and dedication are often overlooked, but they play a crucial role in our food system. By acknowledging their efforts, we can develop a greater appreciation for the food we eat and the people who make it possible. The people who prepared it, who put their skills and love into creating delicious and nourishing meals. Whether it's a home-cooked dinner or a meal at a restaurant, the care and effort that go into preparing food deserve our gratitude. This recognition can deepen our connection to the food we eat, and the people who make it possible, and the nourishment it provides. Food is not just about satisfying hunger, it's about fueling our bodies and minds, giving us the energy we need to live our lives to the fullest. By appreciating the nourishment that food provides, we can develop a healthier and more balanced relationship with what we eat. After all, food is more than just fuel for the body, it's a source of joy, a way to connect with others, and a means of expressing love and care. When we take the time to appreciate our food, we can experience a deeper sense of satisfaction and contentment. It's food for the soul. By embracing a mindful and grateful approach to eating, we can nourish not just our bodies but our spirits as well. This holistic approach to food can enhance our overall well-being, bringing more joy and fulfillment into our lives.